Hi, I'm Dennis Weiss for Eagle Communications. Welcome to our town. We're at the National Greyhound Association with the new director, Jim Gartland, who I met the other day, and I said, I need to talk to you on camera. Jim, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you came out, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome back to the community, as I learned just before the camera came on. You were here once before.
Right. I lived in Abilene for a year, but I've been coming to Abilene for 30-some years for the National Greyhound Association meets, and my wife and I are happy to be back. We kind of love the small town atmosphere and the quietness of Abilene.
We met at an event where business was being prospered, and we were introduced by Gina Dalton and had a conversation, and so I'm going to tell people behind the lens there why we're here. So when I say the name Gina Dalton, some people are thinking, oh yeah, that's so-and-so's mother, and many people are thinking that's Best Realty, but this conversation is facilitated by the fact that Gina Dalton's family is a foundational Greyhound family in Dickinson County. And fewer people understand that piece of Dickinson County. And I thought, what a great way to talk about the National Greyhound Association and how important the industry has been to our county and how important it still can be.
Well, I think it's always been a big part. You look at the registry for greyhounds has moved to Kansas years and years and years ago, and actually onto this site in about 1961. But it's the registry for all greyhounds in North America and sometimes around the world. Thousands of members of the National Greyhound Association, many of them right here in Dickinson County and all over Kansas. But in the case of Gina, her family owned a farm out here on what they call the Miracle Mile, which was a stretch of road where more all-American and great greyhounds have been raised than anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And many people in our industry, consider Abilene to be the greyhound capital of the United States. Between the NGA and the Hall of Fame, it's where it all starts.
So interesting to me, and it's something at Eagle we're passionate about. You know, we have in our mission statement a statement that says we'll grow our business by helping communities grow theirs, and that's essentially what it boils down to. And this is a great example of that. So by Eagle, Dave Hawksworth behind the camera over there, by him using his talents to set this up, turn this on, wire us up, gives us a chance to talk about a great thing in Dickinson County and how important it is, and people there to understand how it affects them. So let's talk about the Greyhound business as an industry for a little bit in Dickinson County. I don't know that anybody has a number of dollars that this industry has impacted Dickinson County, but if they did, it would be about that long, because it has been, over its history, huge of dollars has flown into our county because of the Greyhound industry.
In a couple of ways. First of all, you have all the farms that are located in this county. Right next door to the NGA here is a big operation, the Julie Ward farm right next door. She employs probably 20-some people over there, has trucks and insurance and vets and feed bills and everything else that she pays, and it just trickles down throughout the economy. But that's just one example, and many in this area. And the NGA, we only have 10 full-time employees, but during the season of the meets, we'll employ another 20 or 30. And all those people buy products in Dickinson County and live in Dickinson County and pay taxes here. And it's been great for Dickinson County, and it's been a good relationship for the NGA as well, being in the county here. But the impact of what greyhounds do here, like you said, is not been measured to any real extent. Yeah. But I guarantee you, like you say, it's a big piece.
Part of the time I was in the horse business, I was in upstate New York, the majority of the time, I should probably say. We had an annual Appaloosa show that the director of the New York State Fair came to us one year, and he had been to our show a couple times when it kind of coincided with the state fair, and he was watching it from the perspective of a guy in the stands. He came to us as a club, and he said, would you put your show on during the state fair? He says, because I think we could really use it to draw some people. And of course we said, yeah, sure, that's terrific. But then he had to go make that work politically. And so as part of that, they did an economic study of the horse industry in upstate New York. And everyone was astounded at the money that was flowing into upstate New York just around the Syracuse area by the horse events that went through the Coliseum. The numbers are huge. Well, we've never had that study here, I don't think. But I've heard numbers along the way from different people, but I think it's fair to say it's a huge, huge economic impact. When you talked about Julie Ward next door and we introduced that we said that Gina Dalton introduced us, those are people know. And if you just stop and think a minute as you drive down Old 40 or at the spring and the fall meets, look at the motel parking lots. I don't think there's another thing in Abilene that puts more people in motel rooms than the Greyhound industry does. And until I spoke with you the other day, I'm not sure I'd ever said that out loud.
Right. I was going to say, that was when I said it impacts economically more than one way. There's the on-site properties and what goes on here every day. But the NGA has memberships from all over the country and Canada and everywhere else. And twice a year, like you say, in April and October during our meet, all those people converge on Abilene. And I remember even as a very younger person coming to Abilene and seeing all the signs in the businesses, welcome NGA, welcome,
right.
You know, and the hotels fill up and the restaurants fill up. There's a restaurant downtown that I was in the other night, and the owner told me that last spring, the week of the NGA meet, made his year.
Wow.
For business. And
yeah.
he's pretty new to the area himself as well, and that was a great compliment. And I said, well, we'll be back, you know, and he's now sponsoring our meet and that kind of thing. But the impact of all those folks coming to town and spending their dollars here for the for the week or two they're in town, it's been big, and it has been for Dickinson and for Abilene for many, many years.
Well, Jim, one of the things that I hope you get to know about us at Eagle Communications is that we're pretty steady on this task, and that's to help our community grow. You know, I've had many people sit in that chair for that camera, and almost everybody has come to the place in their business where they are understanding that working together yields more results than just going it alone. You know, if you look at restaurants you just mentioned, the motels you just mentioned, well, I'll throw a couple other things in there. Great Plains Theater, my wife is the executive director there, and one of the things that she did as a director there was to host a meeting of people to sit down and talk about how to use the facts of that traffic that occurs by events into community growth. This industry has yet to be thrown into that mix, and so I'm using the camera today to get you an invite because you're bringing lots of people, and not everybody will be engaged at the track that day, or they may want a day off to do something and go somewhere else, and Abilene is so rich with other things to do.
Right, and that's one of my goals kind of was to, I think the NGA used to participate, for lack of a better term, a lot more within the city and activities here, and in conjunction with the Greyhound Hall of Fame, I think we need to do more of that. Everybody knows that the meet's coming up, and the
right.
restaurants and the hotels especially, but we need to get our name out and be involved in the community a little bit more too, and that's what I'm trying to do. And attending your event the other night was kind of a way to get started.
Sure, that's great.
Knowing Gina, she said it'd be a great place to meet people,
yeah.
Plus my wife and I wanted to go down and see the theater.
Wow.
And we've only been here a few months.
That's
hadn't
great.
seen it yet, so it worked out for the best, and I think more and more of that needs to be done, and because we want to be a good partner in the community as well.
You know, Abilene is full of businesses that want the same thing as you. So what we do by putting you on camera is so when they see you at West Country Mart, Mr. West can come up and go, hey, I saw your interview, Jim. I'm Chris West, or I'm Steve West, and I want to talk to you about how we might work together. That is how small town America grows. It's not some magic formula. It's called working together for the benefit of both parties, and both parties turns into all parties in a town our size. What a great opportunity.
I agree. We the other day I went down and met with the Elks Club. We have a banquet there at the Elks
Okay.
Club, and I did meet with the Country Mart folks because we're doing an event down at the Hall of Fame, and they're going to cater it for us.
See, that's terrific.
I'm trying to get out there. Like I said, I've only been back a few months now, and it's going to take some time. But I agree that the more things you can do together, whether it's advertising or just helping each other out with events, it's great for the community as a whole.
You know, I'm going to take this a little more serious tact, I guess, because the chance to have you there and to talk about this may not come for another year. But I remember last year during the legislative session, one of our local legislators, John Barker, he carried some bills and some actions that would help our Greyhound industry revitalize. I'm not sure that enough word got out about that and what that means. I don't know what John's intentions are this year or whether the industry is putting forth another effort in that regard. But I guess is what I'm saying to people on camera today is you hear the word Greyhound in a news story, listen, see what it says. Come out here, sit down with Jim and say, how does this affect Dickinson County? Because I assure you it does.
Right. Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's one thing that really troubles me a lot. I worked at the Woodlands in Kansas City for many, many years, and it almost, I can't describe the word that I want, that I'm feeling, but okay, it's a shame that in the Greyhound capital of America, Abilene, in the state of Kansas, we don't have Greyhound racing. And what John is trying to do this year in conjunction with some other folks is just retool a bill that was passed some years ago to allow for slot machines at the racetracks. Mm-hmm. When it was passed years ago, it was so unbalanced that the racetracks couldn't handle it. And John's bill would just simply put them on the same playing field as the existing casinos, but would give the people behind the scenes the opportunity to reopen Wichita Greyhound Park, Camptown Greyhound down in Pittsburgh, and horse racing at the Woodlands in Kansas City. And that would be a huge economic benefit to not only all the people that raise greyhounds in the state, but to the state in general. Create so many dollars. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee it would up the membership in the NGA. It would bring money to this community because people would be able to raise more greyhounds and race them right here in Kansas. And we really need it. So I appreciate you saying that people see the greyhound story, understand it. Nobody's trying to expand gambling or make anything bigger than what it is now. They're just trying to make it fair and get racing back in Kansas, where here we are, the registry and the Hall of Fame for greyhounds are here, and we don't race greyhounds in this state, and that's kind of a shame, and hopefully that's going to happen this year. Yeah,
that's a terrific story. I know some people have strong feelings about gambling, as do I, I'll say to the camera. However, I don't have the perception that this changes that. This bill does not change how much gambling is going on in the state of Kansas. What it does is it levels the playing field, takes away some of the bias, and frankly, some of the bias is directly towards the state of Kansas. But I buy gas where they sell lottery tickets. I watch gambling go on. So, the reality of it is this is a healthy industry. This is a foundational animal-based industry. This is something that's good for us. Undeniably, the industry can't prosper without a level playing field when it comes to slot machines or other forms of entertainment on site. But I guess, that's a personal issue, but here's where I want to drill down into. If we could open up the Woodlands again, if we could open up the track in Pittsburgh again, if we could host racing right here on our own tracks in Dickinson County, what a fantastic opportunity to bring people into the community in a healthy industry that leaves money behind for all the rest of us.
And I think it can happen. There's a lot of confidence it could happen this year, which doesn't mean racing would start right away.
Sure.
There'd be some rebuilding to do and so forth, but it really provides an opportunity that there's possible we could have little weekend race meets right here on our grounds in Abilene for everybody in the surrounding area. And we talk about gambling. I've worked in this business my entire life. I don't gamble. I'm not a big fan of gambling either. But and I tell you, the people that raise these greyhounds, most of them don't even think about gambling.
Right.
They do it for the love of the animals.
Right.
Like you said, it's an agricultural type industry, and the gambling question, that's everybody's own individual choice, and nobody's making you go. And
that's
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So It'd be good for the economy, good for everybody in the state, I believe, and it'd raise some needed funds that obviously the state needs. So hopefully it's going to happen. I know John's working hard on it. I met with him a few times, and some other people. We're having a couple fundraisers this month down at the Hall of Fame and the Eisenhower Center. So hopefully things will get rolling.
Yeah, well, this isn't a political statement, but it's the fact. Around here we call him Judge John Barker because he'll always be Judge John Barker to me. I'm confident that Judge Barker is not supporting something that he would consider to be detrimental to the betterment of our society around here. Those two ideas don't go together in my world. Plus, being a horse guy, you'll never stop gambling if that's your aim, but the reality of it is the friendly wager on who's fastest to the corner goes on every Sunday when NFL is on, every time KU and K-State plays. That's just the fact. The other economic fact is that few racing industries would ever have a chance of surviving without some way of legitimizing that portion of the industry. And I think that's the choice we face. It's whether we level the playing field and let the Greyhounds compete again with a level playing field, or watch them go away.
Right, and there's a lot of attrition, and there has been in Greyhound racing over the years, and it would be a tremendous boost to the industry itself to have the two tracks open up back here in Kansas, and it'd be a boon for the Abilene area, for the NGA, and for the state. And I'm really hoping it happens. I know John's confident. I think he was close last year, and there's been some changes. Obviously, the state's not doing all that well, so there's factors that do it. And again, it's not a gambling question; it's a livelihood question. Mm-hmm. People, this is their livelihood, and if we don't have places to race, well, then that just dwindles.
Yeah.
You've seen our numbers even here at the registry. Go down as tracks around the country don't race anymore and that kind of thing. So we need a shot in the arm, and hopefully it's going to happen.
Well, you told me before the camera came on, and you've been in this industry for a long time, forever. Well, I'm 59 years old, and I stuck my nose into horse competition at 17. I'd ridden horses all my life, but I put my nose into the big time at 17. I guess I'll say this. I know it's more than just an industry, and it's more than a livelihood. It's indeed a lifestyle, and in fact, it's a life for people who engage in the Greyhound business or the horse business. I love the picture on the wall. Dave probably got a wide shot of it anyway, but it's a dog meeting a horse with a lady on the side. This is incredibly important to the people. This is who they are. And I think it's so foundational. I've never fed an unhappy cow. I've never had a cow greet me in the morning and go, "Man, I just don't want to see you show up to feed me today," nor a horse, nor a dog. So those things become who we are. And Dickinson County has a lot of people who I have identified for generations. This is who they are. I think that industry is worth our support.
Oh, I agree. And I get up early in the morning, and I live in town here, and I step outside, and you can hear all the dogs barking from the dog farms. And I mean, that to me, that's a great sound. And I spent a year doing it myself, and I told you off the camera that it's one of the best years of my life because I only had to deal with animals.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. They're
always
always happy to see you.
Oh, exactly. So it was a lot of fun. And the people in Dixon County and in the Abilene area here that raise their greyhounds here, they do it for the love of the dogs. And so it's like you said, it's something it's a passion.
Well, we have 2 minutes left, and I guess we'll finish it off, and I'll lead you into it. This is Jim Gartland, and do you have a title, Executive Director?
I'm Executive Director.
Okay, Executive Director of the National Greyhound Association, but he's the face that will lead this industry into the future, and it's here in Abilene, Kansas. You know, greyhounds for Jim, horses for me. It's the only thing in the world that'll get you up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and make you smile by 4:30.
That's right.
It's a tremendous opportunity for us as a county to invest in an industry that grew here in Dickinson County. Please stop by. It's just out on an old 40 and say, there's a guy named Jim I want to talk to. And he'll be a great ambassador to answer your questions and to tell you about the Greyhound industry. Jim,
Appreciate it. Thank you
thanks
very
for the
much.
opportunity to show up. Thanks for your investment in our town.
Well, we appreciate you too, and thanks for having us on today.
You're very welcome. Folks, we're wishing you a great day. I'm Dennis Weiss for Eagle Communications, Jim Gartland, National Greyhound Association. Have a wonderful day.